Hey guys, in my last video we started looking at forms in HTML and wrote some code for text fields and password fields. So if you go look at over here actually, we wrote a text field for our first name, so we could write any text in both first name and last name. But in my password field, because I specified the input type to password, everything I write is going to be hidden or replaced by a black circle or a star. Now in this video we are going to look at checkboxes and various types of buttons in HTML forms. Let's start off with a checkbox. Just like a text field and password field, we are going to write input type type equals and then checkbox. Yep, that's still the same, and we are going to give it a name. In my checkbox, so in the checkbox, if the user clicks on it, basically checks saying that it's true for them. So we're going to give it a name as sex. So basically I'll make two checkboxes and say whether the let's not give it a sex, let's give it I don't know, food. Yeah, because checkboxes you can actually click multiple checkboxes. So let's name it food, and let's give it a value of sushi. Yep, this is going all the way sushi. Okay, and next to it let's say I like sushi. There we go. And give it some space, and again we're going to type input type equals checkbox, name equals food, and value equals hot dog. Now the name attribute in this case is going to distinguish between the various checkboxes if we were to write it in a single form. For example, if there's going to be a checkbox so that the users can tick every food they like, and they're going to have another checkbox which the user can, or the person who visited the website and is currently looking at the contact form, can click on all the drinks they like. Then this name is going to distinguish between the checkbox for food and the checkbox for drink, and further within that the value is going to say the user has clicked this one, and this means that she or he likes sushi because it says I like sushi and they clicked it. Same goes with hot dog, so I like hot dog there, and let's give it two spaces because we're not going to have another checkbox here. So let's save our work and refresh. There we go. There's our checkbox. It looks a bit different on my Mac browser compared, not Mac browser, but yeah, on my Mac compared to the Windows one. It's a bit roundy, the square. I like it. And there's I like sushi and I like hot dog, and I can click on both or click neither. The next thing we are going to look at is a input type called radio button. Now, just like our checkbox, the user can actually click on the radio button, but normally radio button has two or more choices, and you can only click one of them. So I tried making a checkbox for a sex, whether you're a boy or a girl, but then because it's a checkbox you can click both. So I'll do that for the radio button. So I'll write input type equals radio, short for radio button, and name equals sex. Just like our checkbox, that's going to distinguish between the radio button for sex and the radio button for anything else. Say like, do I own a car? Yes or no? Like that. And value equals boy. And let's write I am a male, and give it one space. Next we're going to type that again. Type equals radio, name equals sex, and value equals girl. And I am a female. Actually, let's just write girl and boy. There we go. OCD kicking in, if that's even OCD. And give it 2 spaces because we are now going to have another radio button just underneath it. So let's save our work and refresh. There we go. There's I am a boy or I am a girl. In this case, because I am a boy, I'm going to click that, and if I click this one and try clicking I am a girl, it moves, and you can't click both, or you can't click neither anyway unless you don't click it. But if you click it once, you have to click either. Okay, the last thing we are going to look at is a submit button. So once you've done name, Will Smith, password, hello, do I like sushi? Yes. Do I like hot dog? Yeah. And am I a boy or girl? A boy. You need a submit button so that you can the web page can submit all the information you wrote into a database or send it via an email if it's an email form. Okay, so below my radio button, sorry, I'm going to type in a submit button. So the input type equals submit, and I'll just give it a value equals submit. There. Simple. Now let's check it out. There we go. The input type equals submit tells that it's going to be a submit button, that when I click it, something's going to happen. Excuse me. And the value is what's going to be written inside that box or the button. So for example, if I'm creating a register form, I can write register. At the end, you write everything and you click register. That's it. Now, I showed you the basic structure of a form, how to create text fields, password field, various buttons, and a checkbox. There we go. But then after we click register, what we need to do is use another language called JavaScript, so to check that people have actually entered the field that you require. Say for example, if you're making a form for registering members into your forum, you obviously need a first name and a password. Yeah. So if they haven't written it, if and click register, they will check whether they have written or not, and if they haven't, it will say error. However, we cannot do this in HTML, and before we start learning JavaScript and then PHP for actually sending the data to a database, we are going to learn how to customize the forms to make it look better. So this is my last video on the introduction to HTML, and in my next series we are going to start looking at CSS. CSS stands for Cascading Style Sheet, and it basically is a language which defines how each HTML looks like. So for example, do you remember when we looked at let's close this and open our main.html, our image, and we resized our image using the width and the height attribute. Basically that is part of CSS, just like call span, row span, and bold and italic and stuff. We can all do that in CSS. We could also change size of the h1 tag so that my sushi site heading can look bigger or smaller, and so on. CSS basically changes the way the HTML looks, which we need to learn in order to make an interesting website, because we quickly created a website using just HTML, but it doesn't really look sexy, and not a lot of people's gonna come here for information, even if I had a 100-page website dedicated to sushi. with tutorials on how to make sushi. So in my next video, which is going to be a completely new series, which is still going to be a continuation from my main.html and contact.html, we are going to start looking at CSS. So thanks for following my introduction to HTML, my basic HTML series, and I'll see you in my next video, which I am going to start talking out CSS. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you later.